and you are on the lifeboat. People, bear with me. I'm running just a tad behind, and I am also winging it again as my partner gets the early time off. C.W. Terry, it is good to see you, my brother. Welcome. Bear with me, folks. I'm just getting the last of this put together, and we are ready to roll. So let's do this. Alrighty. So CW, it's good to see you. Phi Crispin is here. Deja Moore, it's good to see you, Deja. Nice to have you here. All right, everybody. I am Captain Tommy Scoville, and you are on the lifeboat. I'll make sure I don't get accused later of this being an adult beverage. We're going with cherry limeade. People, we got a little business we're going to go over before we get rolling. As you know, the early session on the weekends is a session that I do alone. My partner in this venture, Mr. Mark Wages, spends this time with his family, and people, family comes first. Speaking of which, Saigon Cinnamon, we're keeping your boy in our prayers and our thoughts. So hopefully he's doing well. Really thinking a lot about that lately. So hopefully all is good there. People, I want to thank everybody that's gotten, boy, is that bright. I want to thank everybody that got on the yesterday's live feeds. That was some really incredible information. There was, stuff that really, you can't hear the live stream. Could somebody give me a 5x5 if we're okay? Anybody? Hopefully you are hearing me. All right, there we go. Thank you, Deja. Thank you, Charlie Mullins. Charlie, I love you. Good to see you, bud. Joanna, good to see you. Okay, people, just wanted to go over a little, some general housekeeping stuff. All right, we're sounding good. So yesterday's live feeds. We had some talk yesterday about benzodiazepines and the danger in cold turkey on benzos. This is something, people, that we absolutely cannot stress enough. And it is super important that you all know. Jacob Forrester, good to see you, brother. Virginia Doolin, awesome. So glad you're here. It is really important to realize, people, that there are situations that have to be handled by the medical community. I am not a doctor, and I do not play one on YouTube. I am a drug addict recovering from a heroin addiction that lasted for decades. I am also an ex-convict who robbed banks in order to support his drug habit. I am not a doctor, right? And it's going to be a really long time before I would have a shot at a PhD, although we are moving forward in that direction. But just know that if you are planning on coming off benzos, and this is your drug of choice, or this is something that is prescribed to you, Miss V, good to see you. Glad you're here. If this is your drug of choice, or this is something that has been prescribed to you for a period of time. Joe Birdwell, my brother. Oh, you're driving. Man, just listen and don't look, please. Keep your eyes on the road, my friend. If you're coming off of benzodiazepines and you have made the decision that you do no longer want to be using that substance, please, Arizona Raven, great to see you. Please make sure that you do this through the use of the medical community. Make sure that you talk to your doctor. Do not panic if your doctor prescribes for you another benzodiazepine. It is not something that you're going to cold turkey. So usually what they do with any kind of a benzo situation is that they're going to start to taper you off by writing you prescriptions for benzos that are not as strong. So if you were sort of at the top of the food chain and you're doing, say, clonazepam, sometimes under the name brand Klonopin, they're going to step you down to something that is not as strong. If you were on alprazolam, which is Xanax, they're going to step you down to something, and they're going to continue to take you down until you are taking a small enough amount of the benzos where you can then simply, do the cold turkey thing. But it is not something that you can do, up until that point. Miss V says she has not heard from Leisure. I hope that he is okay. I do too. People, if we can keep Leisure in our thoughts and prayers. The man is suffering from the mathematical after the letter C. So we want to make sure that we keep him in our thoughts and prayers. We know that that can be tough. I went through that, people. I filmed it. It was absolutely awful. I thought when I first got it that it was just going to be a walk in the park, and then it was debilitating. The ability to move around, the ability to do anything was just hampered like you couldn't believe. So, Homeless in America, good to see you, my brother. Really appreciate you being here. I also want to do a shout out, people. You know, most of you know if you've been here long enough, obviously, my older brother is Johnny Scoville from Chase the Heat. And I got my start in the pepper community. It's not what I do here. I still have a lot of love for the pepper community, but it is not my... it's not what I do on YouTube, obviously. I don't spend a whole lot of time. Oculi Mortis, good to see you, my friend. I hope that your shoulder is healing. I am really hoping your shoulder is healing and that you're, using multiple wheels instead of one. But the pepper community is still kind of near and dear to my heart. And I saw a challenge yesterday where a guy just absolutely... Christine, good to see you. Awesome, so good to see you. Where he did a challenge, one of the Blazing Foods, he did the solar challenge, the solar flare, which is a good one. If you haven't done it, it's not the tube of terror, but it is a challenge, and it is something that is a difficult thing to get through even for a chili head. And this guy crushed it. I'm telling you, he crushed it. And I have done a shout out in the past to Rhett Griffin because he's just got a channel that is so positive. And if you're into the heat, if you chase the heat, if you're into chilies, if you're into eating hot things, then, oh, good, Oculi, I'm glad to hear it. Then, there are some positive stuff still out there. And I definitely want to give a shout out anytime I see, something in the pepper community that's positive that I can tell everybody here on the Lifeboat that they ought to go over and check out. So with that in mind, Tone Ranger 78. That is the name of the channel. Tone, like as in Tone, Ranger 78. Good stuff. Positive. And the man has a tolerance that is impressive, and he's still one of those people that is keeping it, hey, speak of the devil. And the gentleman shows up. Not that you're the devil, but speaking of you when you show up, I was just talking about you, actually. Really, really happy you're here as well. Yeah, just give it a look later, people. If you're, especially if you're into to anything hot, this is a guy with some tolerance and a positive message and a good outlook. Brandon, good to see you, Brandon. We're happy you're here. So Tone Ranger 78, people. When we're done, go over there and give him a little love. I think you're gonna like the content. So you probably saw that today we went with the word no, right? Oh, by the way, to all of you who have reached out, because this morning's video I talked about not feeling really well. I still don't feel great. I really don't. I don't know if what I've got, I don't think that it is a repeat of the last performance, because to be honest, I feel a whole lot better. Thank you, Phi. That is the link right there, people, that Phi just put up to get to Tone Ranger. So it makes that easy. You want to pop over there and give him a follow. That would be excellent. This is a guy that is positive and in the community. And you know what? That's good stuff. That really is good stuff. No gallbladder. Yeah, you might want to avoid the hot stuff. And the kind of challenges he's doing would really, really be getting to you. Arizona Raven, I'm sorry to hear that. She says her daughter is sick. Yeah, I am doing a little bit better, Joanna. My body is still killing me. I'll tell you what, though. My spirit and my brain and mentally, I'm killing it. I am as happy as I've been in a really long time. So yeah, we're good. Now we got that out of the way. I do want to thank all of you. Seriously, when you reach out and send messages of support and send messages of some of the things that have worked for you. I got a text that suggested that perhaps I should look into doing a fast. People, I am a firm believer in fasts. I'm a little frightened to start one when I'm not feeling well. I've never done that. I've always started my fast when my health was in pretty good shape. So I don't know. I'm a little. Yes, I had 7 gallstones in my stomach and had them taken out last year. My goodness. Yes, that is C.W. Terry. Thank you, my brother. People, if you are a member of the Lifeboat crew over on Facebook, the Safe Harbor, so to speak, on Facebook, where you can go and talk about all things and do it without fear of the hate that is just so prevalent on social media, getting into what you're doing. There is a post that was put up by CW, and people, you got to read it. It really is. It's absolutely amazing. It's one of those things that is. I mean, he really pours out his soul. It's a beautiful, beautiful post, and I fast when I'm sick. It does wonders. Listen to the body. Okay. Honestly, that's kind of the feedback I was hoping for, Christine. I don't know anyone, I hadn't had any feedback from people that have tried it when they're sick, but it's something that I'm giving some thought to. I do it every year. I'm sorry. Yes. Okay. Jacob Forster also weighs in on this. I'm going to absolutely have to give this a shot, people. I think that I'm going to start that. Well, I would be starting it halfway through the day, but I think I'm ready to start that. It's one of those things that I really need to look at. I have been a firm believer in fasting for a really long time. Christine, I do too. That's about how I do it. I try to do 4 a year. And usually I just do minis, so I do 3 days, and then once a year I try to do 7, although I have not done a 7-day in 21. I did a 7-day in 20. I'm sorry, it worked, but it truly helped. And after watching the anger vid, I'm definitely going to make some changes. You know what? I love that, man. Anytime somebody says that they had a chance to watch something that we did and it clicked something, and you start to feel like maybe there's some changes that need to be made, that is absolutely a beautiful thing. It really is. CW, I'm so glad you're here, man. I'm so glad that you have found a home. Christine, I'm happy you are here. You know, people, Christine is the one of the absolute greatest moderators that you will ever come across. I mean, for real, just a very, very talented moderator. I spend a lot of time watching a lot of different channels on YouTube, some of them massive, and people who have mods who are, borderline pro, and Christine is just as good as it gets. And I think she might have been the first mod that I made when I started going live. The problem is I don't think I told her, which is probably not the best way to it's probably not the best way to make somebody a mod, is to do it without mentioning to them that you're doing that. But I'm really, really happy you're here. I'm glad that the move is over and that you are settling in. Yeah, that's just really good stuff. And as I said earlier, my partner, it will be here tonight for the 6 o'clock, and it will be 6 o'clock again tonight, people. Last night I went and had I went and ate at my sister's place. But tonight I will be back at the 6 o'clock hour, and we will be going live for our normal time. So hopefully we'll see all of you there. Today, people, we're going to talk about the word no. It's really funny. No is the first word that you're going to hear out of your kids' mouths. I mean, some parents will tell you that they said dad or their first word was mom, but for the most part, the first one that they get down to a science is no, right? Babies all know how to say no. It's one of the things that they realize that, this means I do not like this. This means I want this to stop. This means you are not going to feed me this. All of those different things. It is the first word that a Phi, how lovely. Her son's first word was poo. Well, that's good because we see him here all of the time, so we can all have fun with Stefano. The next time we see him here, we can let him know that we know his first word. Yeah, Christine says it was her first word. It is most people's first word, and it's definitely the one that they get down faster than any other. I mean, even if mom or dad was the first word, or dada, no is one that they get, and they very quickly figure out that they get that down to a science. But as we grow, that word starts to do different things. And it's one of the challenges that you're going to face as an addict, is that it becomes very difficult when you first start to get sober to utter the word no, especially when it is asked of you from other people. One of the things that you find about addicts, and I'm guilty as sin of this, is that far often 2 times we take on way too much. We tend to bite off more than we can chew. We tend to get ourselves into situations where, after being addicted for a long period of time, when we come back and we start to live a better life. Chi-Chi, great to see you. It's one of those situations where we want to be everything to everybody. We want to prove to the world that, Pamela, excellent to see you. Yeah, it is almost impossible, Pam says. It's a very difficult thing to say no, especially because we have this desire for the world to see us as a new creation. We have a desire for people to see us. I say page 3 a lot. If you're new to the channel, the page 3 references this. For me, I made a list of why I needed to quit, the things that were going to be the driving forces behind why I didn't want to use anymore. That was the first page, listed, my son, my daughter, some other personal things. The second page listed everything I was, all of the mistakes, the liar, the cheat, all of the things that I found reprehensible about myself. CT555, good to see you, my brother. Then what happened was I turned the page, and it was not just a literal, but a metaphorical turning of the page. And then I listed what I wanted to be. And one of the things that, thank you, Fi, one of the things that page 3 Tommy listed right at the top was I wanted to be somebody that people could count on, as opposed to being the person that bailed every time I said I was going to do something. Boy, if I told you I was going to help you move, there was no chance I was going to show up and help you move. All of the things that, if I was an employee, I didn't show up for work. I was going to be the guy that called in sick. Like, that was pretty much a lock. And as I started to try to develop the new Tommy, one of the things that I found myself doing was saying yes far too often. I needed the world to believe that I was a new creation. I felt this overwhelming need for acceptance. And this is something that plagues addicts in a way that I can't explain. If you're an addict, you understand what I'm talking about. But the need for society to acknowledge the fact that you've changed. And we've gone over this on many videos. They are not going to be ready to roll. They're not. Society is going to fight you tooth and nail in terms of believing you. And with good reason, some with bad reasons, in some cases. Nevertheless, you're not going to have a lot of people that want to believe that you're a new creation. So for that reason, we tend to go a little bit further than we should. And we find ourselves saying yes constantly. And this is something that is dangerous. It's not just a matter of being bad form. This is truthfully dangerous. What we end up doing is we end up spreading ourselves too thin. And when we get to a point where we let someone down because we said yes to something that we shouldn't have, we find ourselves starting to feel guilty, and we feel like we're sliding back to page 2. Like all of a sudden the world isn't going to believe who I am anymore. And this really becomes a difficult thing for many people in the life, right? As you start to become that new creation, you have to guard against saying yes. And it is a very difficult thing to do, to say no. For me, and again, people, I will beat this to death. You're going to get sick of hearing this before we're done. But I always am talking to you about things that have worked for me. It's just, I can't tell you what works for everybody. I tell you what works for me, and I hope that you can take something from it. And for some people it works, for some people it doesn't. But for me, when I say no, it has to be with a really large explanation. And I know that that's probably not a great thing, but for me, it has to happen. So when someone says, great example, people, and I can say this because there's no chance of this person catching my channel, but you probably remember 3 or 4 weekends ago, I went over to help a neighbor who was working on a deck, and he just needed a little bit of help. And that little bit of help ended up being about, 10 hours or something. And I was literally sawing wood and putting this deck together minutes before I had to go live. Like, I was running in here and pulling my shirt off and the work shirt off, and before I even got a shower, I'm dropping down in front of the microphone to do the live feed. Well, it's not fair to you, right? This is, you people come here for for a specific purpose every time, and if I'm not at my best, then I'm letting you down. And this isn't, I didn't get into this to let down the people on the boat. So I find myself really having to guard against always being the guy that says yes. And when I was done with that deck, they called and said, we'd really like to thank you. Is there, you want some money, or can we do, one of those things? Page 2, Tommy would have been like, yeah, let's figure this out. 10 hours. Let's say we were getting, 10 an hour. That's $100, but I also had to drive, so there's some gas. I mean, that's who I was, right? So I don't want to ever be that person again. So my immediate response was, no, you can't do anything. I did that, out of the kindness of my heart. And people, the kindness of your heart can get you in trouble as a brand new sober person. It really can. And I know that this probably sounds like I'm almost encouraging you to be a jerk, but the truth is, what I'm encouraging you to do is make sure that you're taking care of number one. If you're not taking care of yourself, then you have a really excellent chance of letting down people. Fi says, page 3, Tommy wanted cuddles from Georgie. The truth of the matter is, right, this is the owners of the people whose dog I sit for. I am taking that dog for Thanksgiving, I think for 10 days. Now, here's the truth. That was a yes that I would have said because I love this dog. I really enjoy spending time with Georgie. I got some great videos I will be posting over on the Lifeboat page over on Facebook of Georgie and I out walking because it is hysterically funny. But, I find myself really overstretching. And you may not know this, but there are individuals who I work with, one-on-one to help them try to get sober. And I work very much like a sponsor would in certain situations. Because of my health, I've had to stop doing it. And there is currently no one that I work with in that kind of situation anymore, and I feel awful about it. The title says no live. It may have looked like maybe I should touch that up, but 357. No, we're live. The subject matter is saying no. I'll have to doctor that when this when this live feed is over. We are definitely live. But I stretch myself too thin, and I feel really awful that I'm not working with certain individuals. I feel as if I'm letting them down. And the truth is, I got to take care of me. And my health issues are real. There's something that it is what it is, and I'm not going to be able to. I'm not going to be able to get through the rest of my life the way that I need to, unless the first thing that I work on is. Rose, good to see you. Unless the first thing that I take care of is me and my health. But everybody falls into this trap. This is not unique to me. All of you who are fighting the good fight always want to put forth an image of the new me or the new you or whatever the case may be. And that's something that's important to us. But what you have to realize is that when you can say no with an explanation. So now when people call me or there are individuals that that have reached out in the last, say, 5 to 6 days who have said, I could really use, kind of some one-on-one time. And, okay, we will see you, Joe Birdwell. Church is a good thing. Head off. But I find myself having to say to these people, boy, I would really love to work with you. But where I'm at, especially with my health, it's not a situation that I can do. It is just not something that... Verte, great to see you. It's just not something that I can continue to do, and it makes me feel guilty. But you have to get good at this skill, and the more you get sobriety under your belt, and the more that people tend to accept you as a sober individual, the easier this gets. Now, I am going on 6.5 years. My sobriety date is in June. So I'm closing in on 6.5 years of sober, but I still find myself falling into this trap on a daily basis. I find myself agreeing to things that are not a great idea, and I don't mean, threatening sobriety, not a great idea. It's just time management. Pardon me. Sorry, people. Foghorn time. Lovely. So, you have to pump the brakes. It's something that is essential. And as we're talking about the word no, the other thing that you really have to get good at is learning how to say no to yourself. You understand? One of the things that we struggle with as addicts is obviously saying no to others is huge. It's probably the first on the list. But you have to learn to say no to yourself. Not just in terms of helping other people, but in terms of all of the things that you did on page 2, all of the things that you did in your past. It's so easy to fall back into those traps because the individuals who you hung out with, very oftentimes we cut people out of our lives who are using, right? It's just one of those things that you have to do for self-preservation. However, a lot of us have a huge group of friends that didn't use, right? There were people in our past that weren't part of our drug culture. However, they may be too closely associated with that culture, or the lifestyle that they live, it's one of those situations where you have to be able to say no to yourself when someone says, hey, so-and-so's having a party, we would love you to come by. If it's not a situation where you know they're doing coke on the table at the party, you think to yourself, I can head over there. I don't go into situations where I don't know the outcome of everything that's going to happen. That may sound crazy, but it's the truth. I'm not going to a party unless I pretty much have a handle on everybody that's going to be at that party, because the life that I lived, moments of truth, good to see you, because the life that I lived was dangerous. And the life that I lived, I found myself very often in places that I shouldn't be. And, now I live in a state where, weed's legal. Right? It's just part of the culture now. You walk down the street and people are smoking pot. It's for if you're a pot smoker, I'm not bad mouthing pot. You understand? I'm bad mouthing my ability to say no to anything. Like, I really have a problem. I have a very, very addictive personality, and to be really honest, I don't like weed. Not because I think it's dangerous or any of those things. I'm not much for the buzz. It wasn't something that I enjoyed, but it doesn't mean that I couldn't find a way to like it. In about 4 days, I could be right back into where I was doing a drug every single day. And that drug could be weed. And now, because of where I live, a Christmas party, which just would have been, hors d'oeuvres and everybody hanging out, now, there's an excellent chance they're rolling up 4 or 5 of them and passing it around, because it's no longer even considered a drug where I live. It is just like, we got a dispensary on every corner. So there are individuals who very much in their life now will open a bottle of wine and roll a couple of joints, and they'll pass them around at the party, and it's not a big thing. It's a big thing to me. And my ability to just, weed just helped me relax and sleep, she says. If that's the case, again, I'm not bad mouthing weed. Believe it or not, people, I don't really bad mouth anything. I mean, as far as the drugs go, I'm not here to badmouth drugs. I'm here to badmouth addiction. I'm here to badmouth living away in such a way that you have to have a drug as part of everything that you do in order to survive. And that's me, right? I'm not saying that's you, but that's me. I have the ability to become addicted to anything. I mean anything. I have been blessed with marijuana and with alcohol because I don't really enjoy the buzz of either of them. So from time to time, I can have a beer, and I've never really had it, sort of make me want to drink a whole bunch more or make me want to drink every day. I never really liked anything where I felt like I was losing control. And with alcohol, that was a big thing for me. If I have 2 beers, I'm great. If I have, I'm with you, Christine. I don't care if people do it. I don't care if you smoke it all day. I don't. If my thing is for me, I'm talking about me. And I know who I am. I can get addicted to any drug on the planet. I can get addicted to drugs I don't like. I've done it. It's crazy, right? I've done it. I'm not a fan of Valium, but I had a ripping Valium problem at one time in my life because I had access to it and it was there. And I'm a guy who, if I'm given the opportunity to drug myself, am going to. I'm one of those people. And knowing that, I have to be very, very careful where I end up. I don't want to be at a party where people are smoking, weed. And it's a little bit easier now that instead of just being me, I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, because just about everybody who knows me knows what I do, and I think I probably kill a party when I walk into it, right? Oh no, the sober dude's here, But I have to learn to say no to people that weren't really a problem in my past. I have to find a way to make sure that the people that I hang out with and the places that I go are controlled. Now, maybe 10 years from now, that won't be an issue. Oh, yeah. Stacy Tillman Mask said, I went through stage 4, grade 3 cancer without weed, but wanted it as opposed to opiates, or at least to lower the doses of the pain meds. You know what? I have absolutely nothing but respect for that. Absolutely. If you are in the process of treating cancer, it is a drug that has been hailed as almost a miracle drug for people who are going through chemotherapy for a lot of reasons. It causes munchies, right? That's something you joke about all the time. But if you're going through radiation therapy or you're going through chemotherapy, one of the first things that you're going to find is that you are, unbelievably, it just becomes a very difficult thing to get hungry. It really steals your hunger, and because of that, weight falls off of people. You watch people who do chemo and radiation, and the next thing you know, they've lost 10 to 15 percent of their body weight. And Verte says that it inhibits cancer growth. There's a lot of proof to that, people. There really is. There's a reason that doctors really suggest that you want to to use cannabis while you're having cancer. But again, I'm not bad mouthing cancer. It's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying. I mean, I'm bad mouthing cancer. I'm not bad mouthing cannabis. What I'm saying is I can't be around it. Right? That's really where I'm at. You know, I can't be around it. And the day is coming in this country where there's going to be a lot more than weed that's legal. I promise you, there are places that have already decriminalized. Derek N., good to see you, brother. So for me, what I'm saying is you have to be able to say no to situations that you can't control. That's how I do it. If I'm not in control of the situation, then I really don't need to be there. It's just as simple as that. And again, me. You do whatever you want. But think about these situations before you go into them. I have had emails in the last the last 2 to 3 days. I had 3 people who emailed me to tell me about how they relapsed. And each of these situations, and we don't need names, but in each of these situations, there are people who said, you know what, I was at a place and, you know, the drugs came out, and because it was there, and because don't put yourself in a place where the drugs are going to come out. That would be my recommendation, and certainly my rule for me. But for yourself, think about these things before it happens. Learn to say no to situations that are going to be a challenge. Because the other option is, going, okay, I think I'm going to leave. And that's a difficult thing to do. To say no to the situation once you're already in it becomes super uncomfortable. You feel like Captain Buzzkill, right? Okay, that's it. You all busted out the weed. I'm out of here. For a lot of people, that's something that they're not going to be comfortable doing. So I'm just encouraging you, as you're learning to say no, to learn to say no to certain social situations. You also have to learn to say no to desires. You have to learn to say no to thoughts, right? I mean, truthfully, as addicts, we have to guard our thoughts. We have to guard our desires. We have to guard dangerous emotions, right? We've talked about this on many, many videos, but we're not like other people. So as you start to feel yourself letting an emotion take over, when you feel yourself getting to a point where you are completely consumed by a specific emotion, you got to say no instantly. You have to do breathing exercises. You got to work out. You got to take a walk. You got to do whatever you have to do to be able to stop that process in its tracks. Now, the reason that I'm bringing this stuff up, people, is because most people don't think about this. As addicts, we spend more time planning a fishing trip than we do planning our sobriety. I'm right. I'm sorry. It's the truth. I talk to people every day who are planning to get sober. People email me every day and say, I'm thinking of quitting. I go, great, do you have a plan? Yeah, I'm going to stop using. Well, that's not a plan. It's not a plan. You stop using, you're just not using. Remaining sober and living a life of sobriety means having a plan. Now, I have failed in my sobriety literally hundreds of times. This time I haven't. And the reason is I have planned ad nauseum for everything that is going to happen that I can control, obviously. If I get diagnosed with an illness tomorrow, that's not something you can plan for. And there are things that are going to come up that you can't. But you can plan for how you cope with the emotions when these things happen. When I lost my dad, I had been sober for 4 years. No, I had been sober for almost 5 years when my father passed away. I knew 2 years into my sobriety that was coming. That was the reality. Old age gets all of us. And I knew it was coming. And as crazy as it sounds, it really was something I planned for. I mean, as much as you can. Obviously, people say it's so sudden. I don't care how you die, it's sudden. 1 minute you're breathing, the next minute you're not. And when I got the phone call that morning that, my dad had passed, during the night, I really had a list of things that I had planned to do ahead of time. Honestly, like pump the brakes, take a deep breath, Do a little working out, start walking, doing all of these things that would enable me to take my mind off of the instant situation that I was in. I also had planned ahead of time that since I knew this was coming, I was going to concentrate on the memories that I had with my dad. I was going to concentrate on the great parts of that relationship because I caused a lot of crappy ones, right? Every gray hair that my dad had on his head, I had a hand in. And what finally killed my dad was heart disease, right? It's what kills, the lion's share of people who die of old age have some kind of a heart component to it. And I broke that heart so many times. This was something I knew was coming, and it was something I was going to have to deal with. Because I knew it was coming, I had so many conversations with my dad before he went where I apologized for the things that I had done. And, I think probably after the second or third round of that, my dad was just sick of hearing it. You know what I mean? And he was a great man. He would take the time to celebrate the fact that I was sober. And he told me so many times before he passed that he was comfortable leaving because of where I was. And that is one of those situations that brought me peace that I can't explain. And it was something that, I had to do before he left. Another thing that you have to do is say no to unfinished business. You understand? Say no to things that are unfinished. If you're in a situation with a loved one and you're not fixing it, no. Because if something happens to that individual, it is going to be debilitating to the point where very oftentimes we're going to run back to whatever our drug of choice was. You have to plan for your sobriety. You have to say no to winging it. You understand what I'm saying? You have to say no to winging it. You have to have a plan for the things that are going to happen to you in your life. And again, things are going to come up every day that you can't plan for, right? But I know what I'm going to do if my car breaks down. I don't mean I'm calling AAA. I mean, I'm not going to allow something like that to dictate how I feel. It is something that I can't control. I am going to take some deep breaths, and I am not going to allow something like that to get the emotional part of my brain to take over. Because when the emotional part of my brain takes over, I'm a loser. No other way to put it. If I allow my intellect to do the things that I do, then I'm in great shape. But if I allow my EQ instead of my IQ to make the decisions in my life, you people will stop seeing me within a couple of days. I promise you. Because that's who I have been my entire life. I have said no to allowing my emotions to dictate my life. You understand? So I am encouraging people today to take a good hard look at where you're going with your sobriety. Plan. It's simple. It really is. Make plans. You can plan for the unexpected. You can plan what you're going to do when you get blindsided, right? A friend in a car wreck, somebody that ends up in the hospital. You honestly can think about things and how they're going to affect you before they happen. It may sound crazy, but we're not like other people. We're not. That is the reality of who we are. You understand? Normal people, and I use the term normal really loosely because there's no such thing. But by normal people, I mean individuals who aren't addicted to drugs. Those people have a completely different life, one of which I cannot understand. I really can't. A normal person can go to a party, and if somebody is doing lines, it's not going to be an issue. But I'm not that person. I know who I am. There is a tremendous amount of power in figuring out who the hell you are. And one of the reasons that I beat so hard on owning your past is because when you go through the process of becoming sober and owning the things that you've done and really getting a handle on who was this person that got addicted to drugs, when you make the transition from that individual to the new individual, right? The person that is going to live a different life, you come to some realizations that are life-changing. One of those realizations for me is there are drugs that no one has heard of yet. They may not even been invented yet, and I can get addicted to them in 3 days. Make no mistake about it. There are pharmaceutical companies right now working on drugs that I could be addicted to in 72 hours because that's who I am. I'm not stupid enough to say, hey, I think I'll give this one a try. Maybe this one will be one that I won't get addicted to. Do you understand? No. I mean, it's people. We need to say no. We need to say no to winging it. We need to say no to putting ourselves into situations that we can't control. We need to say no when people ask us to do things that are going to spread us too thin. You understand? This is the key, for real. And we hammer home certain things here, like the word no, like the word I quit, like all in. All of these things start to make up a tapestry of what it is going to mean for you to live the rest of your life in a sober existence. Now, before it all sounds like doom and gloom, there's power in this. There is an amazing power in learning who you are. You understand? Whether you believe it or not, folks, I'm bulletproof. I am. They tell you, we don't say never, never say never, right? To say I'm never going to do drugs again, you do it one day at a time. And I'll tell you something, people, when I started, most assuredly, that is the way that I started. But listen carefully. In 2028, I'm going to be sober. In 2032, I'm going to be sober. Believe it. Because I have constructed a new life, and that new life does not have any place in it for drugs. I can't do them. Way too good at it, right? Give me a drug. I will take more of it than the next guy. I will take it more often than the next guy. I'm not someone who can do drugs. There is, I think that when we first start to get to the point where you're going to quit, you feel like there's some weakness in saying, I can't handle drugs. It is the ultimate in strength. It really is. When you can say, you know what, can't do it. I know who I am. I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm bad at. There's so much power in that it's hard to imagine. Jacob Forrest says, imagine Tommy with a steroid issue. You know something, my friend? I could show you pictures. I went through a period of time in my life, as some people have, where I dabbled in steroids. And my friends did a cycle, right? I didn't. That's just who I am. I promise you, people, I could get addicted to things that you're not supposed to be able to get addicted to. I dove into steroids with a vigor that was unhealthy, big time. And, while my friends did a little testosterone because it was going to beef them up, and as skiers, it was going to help them heal quicker from injuries, I found that if you did a little winstrol, you could cut yourself up, and a little D-ball, and no, I went all in. That is who I am. I will not fix the problem that caused me and my mother and brother and his ex-wife and my now sister from taking or seeing each other again. They did me wrong and they hid it to this day. You know what? OM, that's awesome. I swear to you it is. That's awesome. Those kinds of declarations, and there's nothing wrong with that, Oculi. There is nothing wrong with that. For real, that's power. That's understanding a situation and saying, this is what I am going to do and this is how I'm going to handle it because this is what is best for me. I got nothing but respect for that, Oculi, and don't let anybody tell you any different. For real. What you're doing is protecting yourself against a mountain of fecal matter that you don't need to deal with. I get it. And apparently Raven gets it, right? I would imagine a lot of people on this boat get it. That's awesome. That really is. That's awesome. If you've been here long enough, you know that I took the month of September to try to deal with two individuals who I have been carrying anger with these people for years, literally years. This is a grudge. This was I don't even know what you want to call it. I guess grudge might be the best word. Where I was carrying hate around for these individuals. And I said in the beginning of September, no to hating these people anymore. No to letting these people rent space in my head. No, I'm done. I prayed for them. And you know what, people? If you have been following this boat from Jump Street, you know that there's other individuals who are doing everything in their power to get in my head. I said no to that. I'm done. Have not told me what they did, only that my sister told me what they did, and now she says she doesn't know anything about it. I know what happened because she told me. Now she denies it. You know, family stuff, oculi, is absolutely amazing. It really is. I have watched people pull themselves apart over things in their family, and I've seen it go for generations. I've seen nieces and nephews who can't forgive uncles because of arguments they got into with their brothers and sisters. Sometimes oculi, doing exactly what you're doing, is exactly what needs to be done. Going like this. No, it's not gonna affect me, man. I'm done. I'm done. You know? There really is, yeah, Fee just says, forgive that guy. Yeah, there's a person out there that likes to put FTG, and it doesn't stand for forgive that guy, right? It stands for something else completely. Forgive him. If you can't forgive him, forget him. Really. There's power in just getting it out of your dome, right? We really do make choices to allow things to park inside of our heads and take up space there. And as crazy as it sounds, people, especially if you're in the middle of one, you don't have to do it. It is a choice. I made a choice to hate two people, to have this grudge against them that I would drag out 3-4 times a month, usually during a good bout of insomnia, where I would lay in bed and think about how badly I had been mistreated by these individuals and just how worthy of hate that they were. I would think about the great things I should have said to them the last time that I had a chance to dress them down. And then in September, I just said, you know what, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not. It's over. And I promise you, people, I don't do it anymore. Miss V says, forgive but don't forget. Another legitimate... Look, there are people who say you gotta forgive, right? And there's probably something to it because forgiveness does clean you from the situation. But I'll tell you something. There is something to be said for not even going that route and just going, you know what? I'm done. I'm not even going to think about it. It's done. It's done. I'm not going to let it take space in my head anymore. Am I forgiving him? I don't know. Maybe not. But it's done. I'm not doing it anymore. You know? Now, if you feel like you need to remember it, do it. Do what is best for you that isn't going to lead you down that road, right? Because when you let something start to run space in your dome, it festers and it starts to affect different aspects of your life. And it doesn't have to happen. It truthfully doesn't have to happen. You understand? It's one of those things that you make a choice to do. I'm not making that choice anymore, right? I'm saying no. Oculi, I'm proud of you, my brother. I really am. You know, and I have a feeling you did that before this show, right? I don't think that that's something that you just got from us. But I love the fact that you said it here because there are people listening to this either today or tomorrow on the repeats 6 months from now who are going to read that and go, that's where I'm at, right? That's where I'm at. I've got this family crap that I've been carrying around for 6 years. I say no to lugging that baggage around with me where all it's going to do is eat at you. All it's going to do is literally rot away at your soul. Joanna W. says, that's where I get to, Tommy. I have a lot of patience with people, but I'll only put up with it with their BS for so long, and then I say no more, and I'll wash my hands of it. And there is something to be said for that. Santiago Lazo definitely needed to hear these words. Boy, that's so cool, man. That really is, as a guy who has a show like this, that's the pay. For real. When someone says, I really needed to hear that, that's the paycheck. People, you know what? For laughs, you know, if you've been following anything going on with the Lifeboat, there's a group of people who talk about how everything that I do, I don't care for you people. I don't care about you. This is about money. This is about monetizing so that I can get rich, and that's what this is about. So we're going to do a little inside baseball because you people own this boat as much, if not more than I do. So let me explain to you some things. People, we do it live, right? Which means there's no monetization while we're live. So when this goes up and gets posted, YouTube puts a 2 to 3 day hold on the monetization. The reason for that is the algorithm has to make sure that I'm not saying anything foul that the advertisers wouldn't want to advertise with, which makes perfect sense. But the 80 to 90% of anybody that's ever going to see these things are going to see it in the first 2 days. Mark and I aren't in this thing to make $1. Mark and I are in this for the paycheck we just got when someone says, I needed to hear those words. And Mark just showed up in time to hear this. Love you, my brother. I'm glad you're here. People, the paycheck for this channel is people who say I'm sober. The paycheck for this channel is people who say I needed to hear that. Or any of the situations that we get where somebody says, boy, the boat helped me do X, or the boat helped me do Y, or whatever the case may be. Chi-Chi, thank you. You know what? I really believe we are. And there's some empirical stuff right now to prove it. We've got people who are living a different life because of this little channel that we started and you all ran with. And you know what? We thought about it, right? You think about everything. I could film this thing, and then I could do it as a live premiere, right? An instant premiere. And what happens is, you people can still come and leave all the comments, but I can't interact with you. Now, we can monetize that. We could. Day one, we could monetize that. I got absolutely no desire to do that. I can't interact with you people. And if I'm not interacting with you people, what am I doing? Right? This feedback, what we do, going back and forth, this is what makes us unique. And I honestly, people, don't care. It's not why I'm doing this. I'll be able to take care of myself. I don't think you need to worry about me. But if we had 2 million people following us right now, that's great. That's what we're shooting for. But not because we want to drive Ferraris. You know, the reason that we're doing this is because truthfully and honestly, we think we got a way to really change this planet. You know? Jacob Forrester, you know something? Jacob says so many things that absolutely floor me that I've started to take screenshots. That's the truth, Jacob. Jacob says there's a point when people aren't worth it. The emotional energy. That's what I mean by going cold. Feeling active rage feels awful, and who's worth that? Boy, if that's not worthy of a screenshot. Right? Who's worth it? Honestly, people, say no. And we need some thoughts and prayers. Mark just said that his fever is back up to the what sounds again like a radio station. He's at 103.5. Right? That's not a temperature. That's a radio station. Mark, we will be keeping you in our prayers, my brother. And maybe you should take this evening off too, huh? I can do this old school. You guys don't mind the desk, right? We can do that one more time. Mark, take care of you, brother. Please. Yeah, Jacob is wise, and you know something? It is it's the proof of the lifeboat. Is that here's a guy that isn't struggling from day to day to stay sober. It's not why Jacob is here. If you have been here long enough, you know Jacob's story, and I don't feel bad saying this because Jacob has said it before. But this is a guy who had spent some time on the wrong end of the spectrum, right? And there were some people who he delivered drugs to. There was a period of time where he sold. And he has shared in the past that this is something that he feels like he's given back, and it may be, making up for some of the things that he did. And you know what? Look, man, I promise you made up for anything you did about the first 3 days you were on this boat. But the fact that you come here day in, day out and support people who are fighting the good fight is awesome. It is nothing shy of amazing. It really is. It is nothing shy of amazing. And it doesn't happen other places, people. I'm not tooting my horn, I'm tooting yours, right? The fact that we have people who come here just to give back is astounding, right? It really is. So when we do live feeds, instead of going the route that gets you paid, who cares? I mean, if you got people like Jacob who are showing up here for no other reason than they're trying to help people, well, then it's working. That's pay. Hey, Saigon Cinnamon says his sound is back. It was so low, but I missed everything. Oh, Saigon, that's awful, man. That's awful. Saigon, I'm sorry. The good news is this will be up. You'll have a shot at it. And in a couple more hours, 2 hours and 5 minutes, we're going to come back up. I'll do the entire thing word for word again. You guys come back, leave the same comments. You did keep track, right? You guys can think you can remember what you typed? No, Saigon, I'm sorry, brother. The good news is it will be there on one of those days that you got a ton of time to kill. This is a pretty good one. I really believe that this has been a pretty good live feed. The feedback has been amazing, and once again, man, the crew of the lifeboat continues day in, day out to make people's lives better. Absolutely amazing. Oh no, Is Fiona mailing out things with ears on them? My goodness. I'll tell you what, man. You really need to kind of keep Fiona and Chi Chi separate. They're trouble. They're absolutely trouble. No, I'm kidding. But people, I want to thank all of you. It's not because I'm getting ready to go off the air. We got some time. But I don't know that that we spend enough time, with me thanking everybody on this boat. Because the truth of the matter is, the reason that this is growing, and it is growing, people. The math I gave you was wrong. I was looking at, and I get crap for this too. He calls it channel bragging. Look, I'm damn right I'm channel bragging. You betcha I'm bragging about this channel and every single person who makes this channel. I am absolutely bragging. You know what, Christine? I'm glad you're here. I really am. But yeah, I'm bragging. I am. We're growing by leaps and bounds, and the people who are coming in here are walking lockstep, immediately falling right into what it is that we do here. Saigon says, my son wants to find a soup kitchen to work at and a family to sponsor for Christmas. Good Lord. How cool is that, man? I swear to you, I don't even have hair and it's sticking up on the back of my neck. Saigon, you know what that is, right? Straight up, you know what that is? Hold on, because this is actually important. But I'll show you what that is. And this is what that is, all right? Saigon, can you see that, my brother? Can we get that? That's what that is. That's an A+ as a father. That's what that is. That doesn't happen by accident, my brother. That does not happen by accident. That happens because you're hitting it out of the park. And you're a former opiate addict who is raising a son that wants to find a family for the holidays, and he wants to go and work at a soup kitchen. You're hitting it out of the park, brother. I swear to God, that is the coolest thing in the entire world. That is an A+ as a dad. And to come off the deck to do that, people, if you're lurking, if you're listening today, or if you heard this after we already filmed it, if you don't believe that you can change your life, back this up 20 seconds and listen to that again and read what Saigon just wrote. For real. Thank you, Pamela. I could not have said that any better. I could not have said that any better. Epic. Epic. And Deja kills it. Deja says, wear your lifeboat shirts while you're doing that. Yes! That is awesome. That is awesome. Yeah, you know what? Keep throwing those A+ up there. Keep throwing those A+ up there, fam. Because that's exactly what that is. You seeing those, Saigon? That's what that is, brother. A+. Don't kid yourself, man. To come off of the deck and to do that, you are really, truthfully and honestly, changing the world. You get that? You're changing the world. Forget it. Doesn't matter who you vote for. It doesn't matter who's in office. You want to change the freaking world? Raise a kid like that. You have changed the world. The ripples that are going to come off of who your son is will not ever allow this world to be what it would have been had you remained in the life. God almighty, is that cool. Saigon, I am so damn happy that I squirreled onto that comment. Holy moly. Joanna A., you're right. I did not put enough pluses on that A. I apologize. That is Jacob. Beautiful, my brother. That is beautiful. And it looks a whole lot better than the one I put up there. But boy, oh boy. Yes, we do have lifeboat shirts. And here's the thing, Christine. The campaign closed. We did it for a period of time, and we did it for a reason, because we wanted the early crew to get something that no one else was going to have an opportunity to. There will be other ones. However, because I am the captain, I procured some extra shirts that I purchased myself, and for such exact situations as this, because when we were doing this, you were in the process of moving. I am quite sure, Christine, that I've got a shirt in your size with your name on it. So there are a few that are still around, so don't fear. The campaign is closed. You can't go up there and buy it, but I guarantee you I've got you a lifeboat shirt. And the best thing is, it is the Saigon Cinnamon shirt, which is just Seems poetic. But it says on it, never quit quitting. And then on the back it says, lifeboat crew. So we got you one, Christine. I promise you. We got you one. So Fee says, Saigon Cinnamon, she's tearing up. And she says she is proud of you. She is so proud. You know what, Deja? I have been trying to take down that link for days. I have. I've even talked to my partner. For whatever reason, we're having a struggle getting that down. But we are working on that. And I apologize for that. Yeah, Christine, your crew here. So, but yeah, Saigon. Hold on. What am I doing? Holy moly. Did I almost get out of here without that? Saigon. You see this? This is Father of the Year. And the really crazy thing is, you guys have never seen that, but that is actually what it says on this. It actually says that on this. It says, let me see, to the world's greatest father and to one of the best men I've ever met in my life. Saigon, if this isn't got your name on it, most literally today, this is you, my brother, right here. Right here. Changing the world. Phi Crispin pops up with an A+++++++. Saigon, I'm proud of you. You know what? So am I. So is everybody on this boat. It stays right there. That is for you, my brother. There is no one on this boat who doesn't see exactly what that means. You got off the deck to do that, brother. You changed the world exactly how it's supposed to be changed, one child at a time. I hate to be this guy, but you know something? You know how it ends the other way, right? For real. I mean, statistically speaking, you know how it ends the other way. We can stop calling it lurking, because if someone watches and doesn't comment, doesn't mean that you're right. You know what? No, I didn't. By lurking, I never meant that, man. I apologize. I don't mean lurking as in terms of, I'm just talking about the people that aren't commenting. You know, statistically speaking, we get about 15 to 20 people that comment and about 70 people that watch before we're done. And no, Oculi, please don't misunderstand. I have a lot of really nice names for the people that I think are, yeah, I don't need to go there either. No, there's no point. Say no to that too. I don't mean that in a negative way, Oculi. Tell you what, my brother, think of a better way to put it. How about the non-vocals? Come up with something, and I will absolutely adopt it. I do not mean that in a negative way, Oculi, at all. Not at all. But what I was saying before I squirreled, because I do that, is the way that this could have ended, right? The way that it could have ended, statistically, the really great probability when someone is using dope and their kids are young and you don't do anything about it, there's an excellent chance those kids end up in prison. There's an excellent chance those kids end up on dope. Instead, you got a kid that wants to help a family at Christmas and volunteer at a soup kitchen. That's breaking a cycle. When an addict stops being an addict and raises a drug-free kid, the link in the chain breaks. That is the ultimate. It really is. It's the ultimate. I've said this before and I'll say it again. When they close the box, it doesn't matter where you lived. It doesn't matter what you drove. It doesn't matter if you had nice clothes, all of that crap, how much money you made. When they close the box, the only thing that matters is if you affected the life of a child, because that is how you change the world. For real, right? The reason that what we do here is important is because if we help somebody get sober, right? They've got kids, they've got brothers, they got sisters, they got moms. The ripple effect of a sober person, it's like throwing a rock in the middle of a pond and you just see those ripples go out. Saigon, I'm so happy, man. And Oculi, I meant no offense, brother. I really hope you get that. And I've used that term ubiquitously for anybody that doesn't comment, but it does probably sound bad. In fact, I call myself a lurker constantly because there are channels from which I just don't comment on because oftentimes I disrupt them. You know what I mean? If you have a channel and you got followers, if I pop on someone's feed and I say, hey, how you doing, guys? And every single person says hi to me, I feel like sometimes I'm taken away from whatever that person's talking about. You know what I mean? So I do a decent amount of lurking my darn self. So, yeah. But I promise I will come up with something better. And let's see here. We've got the Gibbler 84. Good to see you. Okay, yeah, no worries. That's good. People, We're getting on the witching hour. We got 65 minutes, basically. So the time has come, the walrus said. Saigon, you made this entire live feed epic. You really did. You made this live feed epic. Say no to raising a kid that any other way than you just did. That is absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. Igor is your spirit animal. That's Frankenstein. One of the all-time great movies, people. And for real, if you haven't seen Young Frankenstein, go out there and watch it 4 or 5 times. You'll thank me later. One of the best movies of all time. Yeah, just amazing. That whole film was just incredible. Really one of those films that needs to be seen. Okay, people. We have come to the end of the program. The good news is this. Love Young Frankenstein, all of me. But okay, see that? Okay, good. People, we're going to call this a show. Greta says a cinematic masterpiece. You are absolutely right. And the fact that they filmed it in black and white when they did was genius. Abby Normal. Yes. The classic. There's absolutely not one bad scene in that entire thing, too. In fact, if somebody will just put up the right name on the screen, I will end this by doing the classic. Come on, somebody knows it. Come on. The female assistant, played by. Come on, can I get a Frau? Can I get a Frau? Sorry, Frau Buka. Okay, I could not let that go. Okay, people, we have reached that portion of the show where we're going to call it a day. The good news is this. We will be back here in 2 hours. I hope every blooker. There we go, Jacob. Oh, it's classic. All right, I will be back here in 2 hours, people, and we will be doing this again. And the subject matter, I'm throwing it out the window because I am inspired. I think that there may be something else we need to talk about. Saigon Cinnamon, please be on the next live feed if you have a chance. That would really make me really happy. That is just absolutely epic. Epic. All right, people, between now and in the next 2 hours, when we get back together, there is something I think everybody ought to do, right? Never quit quitting. Say no to the things you need to, and do everything within your power to help save somebody. What was that? I am the watcher on the channel for this night and for all nights to come. Thank you, Phi. That is beautiful. People, I will see you on the next. I am out of here. God bless. Saigon Cinnamon, you're a hero. Tell your boy I love him. Good stuff.